Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are seeing me for the first time, you're absolutely welcome. Please do not make this your last. Yes, don't make this your last time. So ensure that you're subscribed before you leave and join this family. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so very much. Today, you can see that we have a very beautiful, wonderful, everything guest in the studio. Guys, this is Amarachi of 4, and I have her here. You know that if you're an OG, you know that I've been doing this study abroad interview experience series on my channel where I get to speak with, international students, current students, aspiring students, just so that they can share their experience, what it's like to study abroad, their challenges, the goods, the bads, the ugly, everything in between, and just so that they can also encourage you by sharing their, never heard before stories as well. So we have Amarachi Ofo. Amarachi is going to share everything about herself. So I don't want to do a lot of introduction because I want her to be the one to, do the whole talking for this whole session. And guys, be prepared because Amarachi is going to like share a lot. And you know that Amarachi is like a friend to this channel. She's also a YouTuber. So I'll leave her to also share more light about her YouTube channel so that you can as well go to her channel and subscribe to her channel as well too. So over to you, Amara. Let's get to know you, your background, everything. Before we get to the background stuff, let's just get to know who you are, what you're doing, and also tell us more about your YouTube channel so people can subscribe to your channel as well.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Amara Chiofo, so you can call me Amara. Let's just go by Amara. Amara means God's grace. Recent alumni, fresh graduates last year, not so fresh, but was still fresh. UAB Business and Communication Management class of 2020, pandemic class. It was wild, very sad year, but we're glad.
I think it was your set that graduated, the first set that graduated during the pandemic, right?
Yes. Crazy stuff. So yeah, right now I am a YouTuber as well. Okay, let's do a little professional background. I'm a business strategist. I do a lot of, you can call me a disruptive innovator. I love startups, entrepreneurship as well, and creativity. When I'm free, I like to cook, create recipes, into healthy living. And this is kind of what my channel is about. So my channel, I'm a YouTuber. I do a lot of food, photography, health, lifestyle. If you go on my channel, it's a march for nothing different. It's a march for see a lot of drama, me sharing like my food
and traveling,
my traveling. So yes, kind of an uncensored, censored, unfiltered channel, and just living my best life and letting you know how to live healthy and also live your best life, sharing hacks here and there, anything we can find, we're continuously evolving, and I would like everyone to go on that journey with me and, discover me. Let's grow, let's adults, let's do everything together, So yeah, that's pretty much a summary about me.
So this is the point where we want to hear your story. Like, how did it start from like the beginning? And when I mean the beginning, I don't mean telling us, I mean, if you want to, but you can share with us like your background. How did this study abroad thing even start off with you? Like, did you have the dream, and when did you have such dream, and what were the things you did to actualize that study abroad dream? Before we get into that, also, tell us what you studied, where you studied, and just where you're from in Nigeria as well.
Okay, first of all, I'm an Igbo girl. Let's start from that. Igbo queen. I am proudly Igbo, and I cannot deny that fact. I speak a lot of Igbo, Igbo to my Yoruba friends. So yes, that's one. I'm originally a business major. Studied my first degree was in marketing from the prestigious Covenant University alumni. Always proud. Okay, Eagles. Shout out to y'all. Okay, yes. So this is where the whole journey began. I would believe my whole study abroad journey began when I decided to study in Covenant. Well, my parents decided to make me study in Covenant University, and as much as, cliche, you're going to Covenant, no, mom. And my mom is like, no other school will give me joy if it's not Covenant. I think I got admission to AFE for accounting. The plan was to be a chartered accountant. I would always tease one of my friends that he would be a president and I'll be the Minister of Finance. Mm-hmm. That was how crazy I was with the dreams back then in high school. So would always like be rushing accounting stuff. Who would know that I would end up like with a marketing degree in Covenant? So I applied for accounting in Covenant. I was not interested when I wrote the exam. So I just went there, shits off, wrote anyhow. When they were now waiting for admission, I don't know that my parents, they've sworn on their life that this is the school I'm going to. So I just felt like, well, if AFE gives me admission, I'm going. But then when AFE admission came out, my parents was like, hell no. Like, my dad didn't mind. My mom was saying, I want you to go to a school. I want you to go to a school that will give me joy. It's not fair you will go to Covenant, the school that I want. And then I was just so sad. And eventually, I think the second admission list came out and I got in for marketing. I wasn't so happy because the dream was to be a chartered accountant. So fast forward to being in Covenant, deciding to go to Covenant. And I just spoke to God about it, like, hey, this is a 4-year journey. I'm quite confused. I really don't know what this journey is going to be like, but please lead me. And even with the admission, I was scared I was not going to get it because I just wrote anyhow for my exam because I didn't care at that time, very reckless. So I was like, I was just praying every day that I'll get the admission, and I actually got the admission. And I was like, God, just lead me socially, spiritually, everything. I want to get this right. I know that being in secondary school, I felt like I sat on the fence. Like I didn't know who I was a lot in secondary school. People had leadership positions, but I didn't get people. I just felt like people saw me as a lot of in between instead of like being,
this is what you're known for.
This is what she's known for. It's either she's known for good team spirit, sports. She's known for, well, I would always play basketball, like if they ever did inter-house sports, but I wasn't known for something compared to my brother, and I was the same class with my brother. So he was the leader guy. He would come home with awards. They would know him for like good boy, but me, they couldn't just place me somewhere. And I didn't mind.
Because I remember when I met you at UAB, I was just like, I think it was very brief the first few weeks or so, but I could tell we were not like really, really close, but you know, even from a distance, I could tell that this is the kind of person, this is her energy, this is who she is. So I'm trying to marry that to what, and I'm like, yeah, it's understandable. That was high.
Nobody, like, to be honest, nobody can relate. Like, people from, I'm sure like some people from secondary school would like see me now and be like, oh, I mean, it's not like I was so bad, but it's just like you couldn't pin me somewhere. Like I was shy. There was a lot of insecurity. There was a lot of having to support other people without even knowing where you stand. I had to deal with like a lot of that in secondary school. So for me, going to Covenant was like a light that I didn't realize until I was there. So it was a place where like, this is where I define where I stand. This is where I stand for something. This is where I pick a side. This is where I pick a hustle. And every ounce of energy in me would be maximized on this ground. Like I could feel God telling me that. So I was like, okay, let's start this journey. Yes, horrible school. Yes, they've said a lot of things. Yes, lots of rules, but we will make the most of it. We're not just going to study marketing here. I had a lot of resentment for that course they gave me. A lot of resentment that I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I didn't make a lot of marketing friends. My friends were more of like in engineering, based on like people that came from people I knew before school. I had economics friends back in my 100 level, 200 level. This was how much resentment I was like, what am I doing here? This is not my dream. When would they change the course? Everybody just said go to school, right? So there the journey began. Like, what can I do extra? Where do I belong? Who am I? What talents do I even have? This was coming from, like, I mean, I was always goal-oriented, like coming from elementary school, but I feel like primary school and others, I was a bright student. I got a couple of awards, but secondary school, 6 years changed a lot of things. And I don't even know till today, I don't even know if it's because I got into school too early, like, because my parents said, oh, you're smart, leave from primary 4 and get into school. So I don't know if that is also what kind of disorganized me, but I would just say, like, I kind of don't like secondary school, and somehow I just like the switch up. So Covenant was a whole journey for me. I would always tell people, I didn't just go to study marketing. I don't really care about the first class. I want to have it, but I don't care. But I really want to find myself. I want to be able to say, oh, this is my talent. Oh, this is what I care for. Or this is what I'm interested in. Even relationships, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do like any of that, because I'm interested in knowing who this girl is and what she has to bring. Like, why did it feel like 6 years was in between, and now she just has to make the most of this journey? So I started looking for opportunities. I believe I was also growing my work with God at the time. I also started searching for like study abroad programs. Like, I could just feel God leading me like deeply to like, hey, this is what your second year is going to look like. I joined, we had this entrepreneurship class in Covenant. So one thing about Covenant is Covenant has like an innovative spirit. They try to drive a lot of startups, talent, businesses. They push a lot of entrepreneurship in our school. There's this entrepreneurial spirit that we try to drive. So I registered for public speaking because I knew that I was interested in talking, but I wanted to know like how far it would push me. So that was like one of my first awards that I got. So after joining public speaking, I wanted to go for an exchange program. I think I came across a flyer and I saw some people being celebrated. I'm like, oh, my spirit just hit me. I'm like, we should actually look into that. And I looked into it. I really wanted to go. But something told me, why don't you wait and schedule it for your 300 level summer? So I said, okay. I think I spoke to my dad about it. It was either he couldn't fund it at the time. My spirit just said, be patient. We'll schedule for next year. You will go next year. So it was like, I could just feel like, I feel like my life was like, this whole journey is like a whole testimony, because I could feel God like literally leading me like all the way. So like in 200 level, I knew what 300 level was going to be like. In 300 level, I knew where I was going to be in 400 level. I could have like, there was just this strong thing like guiding me, like, not to make the whole interview sound spiritual, but it's my life. And I can never really talk about like my journey without talking about like seeing the hand of God in my journey, right? So that was after public speaking. I got an award, my team was celebrated, and I felt so strongly. That was when I mimicked Oprah Winfrey's speech, and I felt so strongly like God was calling me to something, to speak into somewhere. But I was still curious, where do I fit in this whole thing? We're still going. And the next year I signed up, told my dad, hey dad, how are you? You know how you message your dad when you need something, and
Yes.
or you talk to your friend when you need something. I messaged
Tell
him on
me
Facebook,
about it.
because we don't have phones. See, you please give your students phones. We don't get phones. So I messaged him. I
Not
told him
saying.
that. Like, it was hilarious. So I told him that, hey, that there's this thing that's come up in school. People are going on an exchange program. They're traveling to the UK, and I would like to join. This would give me a lot of exposure. It could build my CV. It could, create a lot of opportunities in the future for me. And then he said I told him how much it was, and he was like, cannot afford that this time. There's school fees, there's work, there's business, there's this. And my spirit just said, don't worry, you'll be fine. He will come through. After all the shakara, he came through, processed visa and everything, and I arrived in Lancaster University. And I told myself that, well, we have come. There's something they say in CU, 7 children don't play for 7 years, or be 20 children don't play for 20 years. So I said, I might have come with you people from CU, but my journey here is clear. I'm here to show myself, because I need to know like where I belong. This was still on the journey to like finding me and discovering like what a march is about. So whenever they call for program, I will go. Even when my friends are getting tired, I say, Amara, if you don't get 2 awards from this program,
Your head not gonna calm down.
if they don't give you an award, we're not living here. We're not living here. So like I would always try to volunteer for stuff, whenever they say, oh, who's going to host, who's going to do this, I will sit down, even when I'm getting tired. Even when they say, we're going to walk around like Lancaster, like anything at all. Like, I was just devoted. I was just going. Sometimes they say, wait for us. I'll be like, well, you people should come and meet me there. Like, because we just have to show as much energy. Because I knew that God didn't just bring me here for just to come and cruise. I knew that there just had to be something. So we had this big event. It's still on their website, where we had to host a show. It was called the International Cultural Exchange Program show, talent show. And he said, who is going to host? People ran to media, people ran to different backstage things. He was leaving to like, who is going to speak? I see. British accent, you don't get. How good. What's going to happen?
Run now.
We'll go run them anyhow. We'll go, so
yeah.
it's popping, just we'll just put a little in it here
there.
and there, British here and there, and just roll with it. So I said, okay, I will host. And I was hosting with some girl from Malaysia. The footage is still online, and sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, I can't believe you did this. And then when I just got on stage that day after the whole preparation, I was nervous. I got a lot of support from my people. Favor, Tolu, if they ever watch this video, shout out Tosin, and a couple of others, Erons. Everybody just cheered me up. You can do this. So I went on stage and I felt so powerful. I felt like I owned the stage. There was so much courage. I could feel myself stepping out of a lot of comfort zone, and I was like, this is it. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt like, put yourself out there. You're not supposed to be hidden. Whereas city set on a hill, our light can never be hidden. And I could just feel myself, like, this is not aspire stuff, but I could just feel like, never sit at the back, like always put yourself out there to do stuff, like keep going. And that was it pretty much. Hosted the show, it was mad, people loved it, and it was good. So that was how the study abroad journey came. So next year, I could feel a leading in my spirit, like, we're going to do another one. Because I wanted to go to US first. My spirit said, don't worry, you go to US next year. It was so strong. It was funny. So the next year, I had another program came. This was like a work study program. And I told my dad, same shakara, we don't have money, dollar is going up, we cannot pay. Next thing, my big father said, my big daddy up there said, don't worry. Next thing was sorted. I graduated 2016.
So did you go to the US for the program, like the one you did in the UK?
No, so the one I did in UK was for like Covenant, when I was in Covenant. So when I was graduating, there was another program supposed to hold. So I signed up for that one. That was supposed to be in the US, Pennsylvania. So I don't know, did I answer your question?
Yeah, I'm asking did you eventually make the trip?
For the US one?
Yes.
Yes, I did. So that was supposed to be post-graduation. So when I was graduating, I was so excited. Like, people were partying and doing all this stuff. But there was just this gladness in me that, and also it was from my Almond Foods. If you've heard about Almond Foods, that was where I birthed Almond Foods in my final year. So God was really doing a lot with me. I got interested in health and fitness because there was a lot of weight issue and diabetes going on. I got that deeper feeling or deeper conviction to pursue living healthier and encouraging people to live healthier. So when people see me posting food stuff, it's not just because I want to be an influencer, but it's a deeper conviction to help people live healthy, because I just believe that God is saying there's so much we can do if people actually pursued healthier lives. So that was how I came about Almond Foods and started pushing out the whole health goal, losing weight, be healthy. That's the goal. So I was just picking back on what happened in final year, and then I went for this program. So basically that's how the study abroad journey, and that's how US came. So I came for the program, very excited. I was happy. I saw the US and I'm like, usually I've always been a UK person because I've been to UK a couple of times, but I haven't traveled as much to the US. So I was like, I saw how liberal the system was. I saw it as a land of opportunities. But then I could feel like for UK, there was this cloud. I don't know how to say it, but I just felt like the UK was not as liberal. It was more controlled. It's like, it's not as dynamic as the US. So I could feel a leading that you're going to come back here again. But for now, you need to just come do your exchange program and then go back. You'll be back here. When all these things are happening, I'll be thinking that, God, how we won't do them now? There's exam to write and there's so many things. So literally that was how like the US study abroad journey came. So it was just a journey to like self-discovery, find yourself, what more can you do, what are your capabilities, what values do you possess, what are your strengths. So it was a search for more to discover myself. And I knew that I did just want to be within Nigeria. I always saw myself as a global citizen. I wanted to explore. So I also love traveling as well. So this was just me going to find me, like in this whole process. So when I came, I saw the country, I liked the system. I just liked the fact that it was open and liberal. I just felt like there was no limit to the opportunities you can find here if you look. If you look, there are definitely limitations, but if you look, there's definitely going to be a way out somewhere. So that was how I went back, I think 2017. Then I started planning, preparing, searching for schools to come back here. So basically that's my journey.
So yeah, I like that you were able to walk us through the whole university process and you being vulnerable to even express how you were at the time, not knowing who you are and trying to find that person, to get to know that person first. And just also listening to God, because sometimes we have, we have all these plans. And then we're like, I want to be this, I want to do this, but we never
want to go where everybody's going.
Especially when you're like comparing yourself to some other person.
Yeah.
And then you were also in a private school. I believe that that's a very crucial time in our lives that, we're really, really pushed to look into the lives of others. Okay. But that wasn't the case for you. I mean, you had your own issues, but you were more interested in finding yourself. And also one thing that I really, really appreciate is the fact that you're also listening to God and taking everything that comes as like, okay, this is not for me. This is what maybe God wants me to do something else. So that's something that I believe people should do more, especially in that stage of your life, because sometimes
open-mindedness.
People are not really looking to, they're like, this is it, they're fixated. This is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do. But they are not really interested in finding out who they are at that point. Because I remember in high school, in the university, everybody just wants to have fun. It wasn't even about the education. It was just meeting people, having fun and graduating and then what next. But you were already finding your what next while you were in the school and being intentional with every single thing that you were doing. So I believe that anybody that's watching this video, I believe you must have picked something and you're picking things as we progress in this video. But at this point, I want to know, what was it like for you searching for schools and how did you come about finding or settling with the University of Alabama at Birmingham?
So I think for me, to be honest, I gave up I almost gave up sometimes because trying not to sound overly spiritual, but we're spiritual beings. I was like, God, I know everybody's running away, like Japa, 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 but I don't want to go where you don't want me to go. I was very particular about that. I was working a job as a marketing communications person at an advertising company. And I did a lot of operations. I did different roles. I wore many hats on that job. So I was hoping that after NYSC, they would increase my pay, increase my pay and all of that, and I would stay back. So I'm sure some of them thought I really wanted to leave. But the truth is that I was more hell-bent on, if this is it for me, I'm willing to sacrifice going abroad. Because if you have the money and you're right, like your plans are right, you can always travel. Like programs are there. You can just travel, do a certification, come back. My own was stability and consistency and also being in line, like being in the will of God. That was one thing for me. So I was like, first of all, the struggle was GRE. Me and Matt were not best friends, we're cousins, distant cousins. We always come to meet. I even said, okay, maybe the marketing, there will be no maths. But no. College of Business Maths, statistics came, Math 111 came. All this, is it not marketing? It's not supposed to be. But apparently, marketing is like a core business, like it's a core business course. Like there's no way you can do marketing without accounting. You can't do marketing without economics. You can't do. So all these things came back. I'm like, to what end? So basically, GRE came to bite me in the butt again. I was 2017 was a hard year because trying to prove myself at my job and trying to plan what next, because I came back from that trip in 2016 from my exchange program. So I was searching for schools. People wanted tech. People said, okay, there's Texas because Texas is more diverse. And I was like, okay, we'll apply to schools in Texas. We'll apply to, then I also felt the need to study, what's it called, communications. I thought that was the line I was going, because I was now doing a lot of, so basically one thing I would say to people, like in your journey, a lot of things that keep unfolding as you go would look like this is what it should be finally, but there's still more. So be open-minded as you do a lot of self-discovery and as you learn and discover yourself, because you might get to a place and everything happening there might look like what you should finally do. But little do you know that something else lies ahead that will open you up to more things. So at that point, because I was working in advertising, I was doing marketing, and I was also in my church media team. And I was like their talk, would do the news for church, media stuff, ads and whatnot. So I just felt like, oh, maybe I'm going to do communications, because I mean, I like talking, I like all of that. Forgetting that there's a business side to me that I'm very interested in pursuing. So when I was applying for schools, I was looking for programs that would do communications and some of marketing. I'll still keep me my business side and still like expose me to like communications to just learn more. Because I thought that, okay, I'll just own my own talk show, all those vain things that you just think your life is just that simple. Bam, you just do it and that's it.
That's it.
You're set. But as I was just looking for schools, it was quite hard applying, getting a lot of rejections, because I wasn't going through any agents. Because if there was something me and my sisters told ourselves, like, people are doing this thing themselves, so we're not using any agents. We're going to do it. So we're going to write all the exams, TOEFL, GRE, and we would succeed. We use all the information we can to support each other and like walk through this journey. So it was really looking hard. I'm never gonna lie. Preparing for GRE, taking classes, it was hard. So when there was no headway happening for me in 2017, I almost gave up. I'm like, God, I'm not sure you want me to leave. If you really need me to leave, let's talk, because I need to take a break, because it's been hard. So a couple of my friends got admission, people passed their GRE, things went well for them. And I was still asking God, like, God, I'm not bothered. If it's this Nigeria, we will stay here and I know we'll succeed. So this was January 2018. I spoke to an agent. Like, I just felt like, talk to an agent, collect more list of schools, let yourself, like, get yourself acquainted with a lot more schools. So I emailed one agent, the agent that helped my sister process her UK admission. I said, send me a list of schools, American schools. Don't apply, just send me. I want to look into the schools. So I was looking at a couple of schools and I came across UAB. So I looked at it, Googled it, because I don't want to go to Cherry Gambia school. I don't want to go to any school that, I don't want to go to a school that Covenant is better than. If I go to a school in this country and Covenant is better than, then I don't think I'm.
No point.
But no offense, like, if anybody, like, there's no offense to the type of school. I would say, like, there are a lot of beautiful schools in this school that will give you exposure. We'll go back to the topic of the type of school that I was looking for. I was looking for a school that, even in that state, people will talk about the school. Do you get? Because that's something I noticed about US. Even if it's one thing to say, I want to go to the top 10 schools. Now you're competing around the US, Ivy League. But I wasn't really looking for Ivy League. I'm like, I might not be able to get into an Ivy League. It's okay. But let me look for like a school in a state that if they call it out, like, it will not be like, oh, that school. I mean, everybody, the fun thing about this country is that everybody supports every school. Like, depending on your community,
Exactly.
your district, every school is good, you know. So if you grew up in say, for example, in Mississippi, the school that some people might want you to go to might be Mississippi State. Like, that's kind of how it works. It's not bad. Or maybe schools around there, they might not send you all the way to Ivy League or something. That's something about here. Like, people accept like the schools in their neighborhood, their community, and all those type of that school they go to. Plus, Americans, they don't want to pay out of state. So No, but unless they have full ride or a good scholarship, so they'll rather be in their community and school there for cheap. So when I came across UAB, I researched on it. I read about it, public research institution. I'm like, okay, good, top program. They were good in medicine. They were good in research. So I looked at my program, communication management. I looked at their business school. I realized that they were doing quite a lot of stuff. So I said, okay, let's apply to UAB. So I noticed that they were like, I looked them up, not just Wikipedia, like I did some digging and I realized that they had a name in the state of Alabama and at least in the South. So if you call UAB, it's not just like they were renowned, they were good, they were known for employing labor, a lot of things. Yeah, entrepreneurship, a lot of
Number
things.
one in the state.
Yeah, so I said, okay, we're going to go there, but our UA brothers will not agree, so it's fine. Conversation for another day. it's fine. So yeah, I decided to apply and I got in. So I was like, oh, okay. God, it's looking like we're gonna go, but I'm not convinced because visa is another thing. So I reached out to my dad again. Remember, money, help us. So want to go to school. We have found school, we've gotten admission. And then it's like you're going to be fair till like the fall. And I was open. I'm like, oh, maybe this is another setback. Maybe this is another reason to like maybe grow in my company in the meantime. But my spirit said, don't push this thing aside. Go for the visa interview. Until you get denied, you cannot even give up. So I started pulling some funds aside while I wait for my dad. Because I said, when I'm done, I'm going to collect my money back. I hope it does much. I started using like some of my money to like run some things and pay for stuff, service, visa, whatever I could afford.
Yeah.
You know, settled, got bank statement, everything, and I walked in there, got my visa.
How was the interview process like? How can you still remember the questions you were asked?
Oh yeah, I remember like the interview process. I remember the people they denied in front of me. First of all, I'm never gonna lie. Someone was going for bachelor's degree after getting master's in, was it Ghana or one African country? I said, but now you should be pursuing like a PhD or an MBA or something. Why are you going back? He said, because I want to get more knowledge of it. The consular looked at him. Even myself, I was like, I wanted to knock the boy from there. He said, I want to get more knowledge of it. And then it's like, this guy is not making sense. Like, why? They were really asking him, why bachelor's? Maybe he would have said that, oh, I want to pursue a new career path. Wow. And why are you not using master's to pursue a new career path? And you would not say that, oh, I didn't take enough credit.
Yeah, or there were no practical,
yes. So now I have to take, yes, that even if I get, so I don't qualify for master's program, I would have to go to bachelor's and then get all the credits that I missed and then transfer to the master's program. So people don't know these things and information is power. So is your word against theirs. You need to prove yourself. So they asked me why UAB? Because I'm like, I'm sure they will be seeing people going to other states and I'm going to Alabama. I'm like, actually, I told them that I like UAB because they're a public research institution and they're big in the state of Alabama. That it's quite diverse and it has an international student body. I told them that my program is one of the best programs, the one I'm going for. I told them about my professors and I'm sure they started chopping it. Like I told them I've researched my professor, he did this, look at his research papers, he's the top in this program and I want to learn from the best. So they now asked me one question about the program. Till today, I did not know the answer. Look, I may know the answer now, but I didn't know the answer because I hadn't studied that program. So I don't know how I did it. I just said something around the bush. He said, tell me more. I just did not really know, but I just was saying, you know how they say, never say no to, like when they ask you a question, say something, defend yourself. And then I just had to defend that question. And that was it. He said, okay, come and pick up your visa and so and I was like, even to today, I still laugh because that question, that was not the answer. But
what was the question again?
I'm trying to remember. It was something about the program. They were asking me about, like, if one of the foundation courses that I was going to take. So they felt like if you're going to master in this program, maybe you should know this foundation. Guess what? I learned it in my second semester in that program.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, there's no way I would have prepared for this. There's no way I would have known. So my advice to people is that if you're going to study for a program, look at your curriculum, look up the foundational courses. Like, I mean, because you never know, because especially if you're changing your career path and they ask you something in a different line and you haven't learned about it, it's going to be a hassle. Like, you have to defend it. But it was something about in the foundations of communication management. It was something in that line. And I hadn't learned it. So I spoke with my knowledge of communications. Like I just spoke and I told them that, oh, this is what it is. And pretty much that was how the visa interview went. I think I didn't stay there for up to 10 minutes and they gave me, first of all, they also asked me, where have you traveled? And I told them, oh, I've done a couple of exchange programs. I've worked in the US. And they're like, oh, I see that you worked here. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I worked for a multinational and I just got back. So maybe in their mind, they're like, you've had a consistent history of you go for a family trip, you're back. Exchange program, you're back. Even with that work trip I went to, a lot of people will go and stay back, right? But I'm sure they were like, there's a history of coming back, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, she knows what she wants. That was the vibe I was getting. They asked me, oh, when did you finish the program? How long was it? Who did you work for? Why did you pick it? And then I just explained myself. It was more like, okay, now I'm going for my master's. Are you gonna give me or not? You know? So yeah, pretty much that was it.
So yeah, would you advise people to take up exchange programs during their undergrad years?
To be honest, I would. If you can afford it, if you can see, GoFundMe is there. Start begging for money on the internet. I'm not saying like everybody should beg for money. I'm just saying like if you really desire to go for an exchange program, pursue it. You just never know. A lot of times, I also knew that because my parents didn't get the opportunity that we have, they wanted to set us apart. So if anything comes, they're traveling, they're doing this, and you know the process. Because my dad will not leave his business and be finding exchange program for you. You're the one, you're his eyes. Daddy, I've seen this, people have done it. Help me. If he doesn't have money, he'll tell you he doesn't have money. But if there was anything that was his goal for sending us to schools and putting us in like situations where he has never been or setting us apart, giving us high standards, it was because he wanted us to have the best of experience that he doesn't have. Because the more we're exposed, the better for him and why his investments, and that's how he sees it. So same goes for my mom. So if there's anything happening and you tell them, if they cannot afford it, they'll find a way to make it happen, or they tell you, oh, go next year. So I will advise undergrads to say, if you see exchange program, there are good ways to get exposure, especially if you're in a program where you don't even know who you are. You don't even know why you're studying that program. So taking up extracurricular activities and traveling would help a lot. This is not a one size fits for all, but I would recommend exchange programs. They're really beautiful, honestly. Internships as well. Volunteer organizations, just join. You will learn so much.
All right, so now we've heard your story from the background to going for your applying to schools, getting admission, going for your visa interview and getting your visa approved. So let's move on to the phase where you now had to finally find yourself in the United States for your master's program. How was that journey like for you, adjusting to the system? I mean, even though you've had some sort of experience before, but was it different since you're now here for a longer duration? And how were you able to, get good grades? Like, how did you even get to that point where you were able to stay on top of your academics? And how can you advise people to adjust and also do same?
So that's a great question, basically.